I really just feel like supports are in the best place that they could be right now. And it has nothing to do with the support as like itself, but it has everything to do with the people around them, right? How many times have you locked in a game of support and the carries that you had on your team were completely useless? You're playing Blissey, you're healing an all-rounder, they're missing their cooldowns. You Blissey all the speedster, they miss their ult, or they just die, or they just go in at a bad time. And it's like, what can you do at that point? How on earth can you help your team when they're just throwing the game and inting while playing support? You can't. You just can't. You can play Cafable and keep them alive as long as you can. You can play Blissey and try to secure the objective with your Unite move. You can play LD and try your best to like play Jason Kidd, Nurse Joy running around Remote Stadium or Thea Sky Ruins. You can try your best, but sometimes when your carries aren't carrying, the pocket support doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It feels useless. It's like a support has to trust their teammates. And meanwhile, this other role, the attacker doesn't have to trust his teammates. And the crazy thing is you can use attacker as a support. The only time that you have to trust your teammates as an attacker is if you're playing your attacker at the attacker role. But if you're playing it in the support role, completely different game. Here's why. There's Pokemon like Mew, there's Pokemon like Mewtwo Y, Pikachu, Alolan, Ninetales. All four of those Pokemon can be used as utility attackers or support. Utility is support. Whether you want to feel like it is or not, utility is support. Mew has 7 moves. You have Light Screen, which can peel and push people away. Coaching gives your teammate a shield. Does that not sound like a supportive moveset to you? Like, I don't know. And then on top of that, you have E-Ball that does damage and slow. You have Solar Beam that secures and does damage as well. And then you have Surf that you can use to push people away from your team, into your team, and you can combo it off with your boosted auto as well. Mew has such a utility in its kit to where, one, it doesn't need its teammates to perform. It can walk forward, it could frontline. If it has any danger, it could just move switch. It can just move switch and get out. And that's why Mew's one of my favorite support attackers, because like I could coach my teammates if they're in trouble. I could surf an enemy away. I could solar beam and poke out the team if I need to, because sometimes, I'm gonna be real with you, the carries in my lobbies, they don't be carrying, which is why I don't play support or tank in my game. But if I do end up playing support, I'm gonna play a harasser. I'm gonna play something with utility. I'm gonna play something that could do more damage. Like Mewtwo Y is another one of my favorite supports as well, because Mewtwo Y has the double dash. So you're able to just walk in and then bait people, and then you could just double dash out. You could dash in, pop your side strike, dash out, and then watch your teammates just collapse on them, hopefully. And the best part about Pokemon like Mewtwo Y and Mew, they don't get stunted by their level spike. Like most Pokemon, like Blissey or Clefable, for example, they get stunted by their level spike if their teammate's not performing, if their teammate's failing, if their teammate's just throwing the game. But Mewtwo Y, especially with EXP share, because they're not going to get level locked, if they're the lowest XP in the game, no matter what, they're going to be gaining levels passively throughout the game. So instead of having to farm like a normal attacker would, you could participate in team fights with your carries, continue doing damage, and you can get your levels that way. Farming isn't the only way to get your levels. You can get your levels from scoring, you can get your levels from KOs, you can get your levels from assisting the team, you can get levels from going to objectives. There's so many ways to get levels outside of farming for that level 13, but I feel like most players don't do that. I feel like most players will just farm and then just go run at their enemy and just throw their lives away. When there's like more things that they could do on the map, sometimes there's gonna be a moment to backcap, sometimes there's gonna be a moment to do an objective, sometimes there's gonna be a moment to team fight, but not everything is gonna be fight. You know what I mean? You gotta have some macro. You gotta know how to work the map. And as a support, you could get vision, you can roam. Even if you die, it's not as punishable because you're a support. You have EXP share. So if you're dying as a support attacker, you don't even have to worry about quote unquote feeding. You could die for your ult charge. You could die for another carry. And guess what? It's valuable because you're an EXP share attacker rather than being a regular attacker. It sucks being a regular attacker in the current meta. Most people are playing speedsters, brawlers. Even if you watch the world champions did not run attackers. They ran triple dive and they were running it down. Peru was one of the teams that I had to scout. And when I was looking at their APIs, all I seen was all-rounder, speedster, all-rounder, speedster, all-rounder, speedster, Rapidash, Leafeon, Serena, Dojio, Scyther. Doesn't matter, man. They're all running you down. All 3 of them. Tempo, Anemo, and their bot attacker. They're all running you down. And it sucks because like as an attacker, the only thing that you're gonna feel is that pressure of them running it down on you. That's why it's hard to play Pokemon like Gardevoir. That's why it's hard to play Pokemon like Delphox sometimes, because they're at mobile. Once you use your eject button, you're kind of done. In solo queue, the reality is your randoms aren't going to heal or protect you when you're playing as like a real attacker, right? If you want to play attacker and you want to feel effective, you want to have fun playing the game, you want to play your role, try out playing attacker and support. If you don't like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know down in the comments, but try it before like bashing it or shutting it down. You could try support Mew. You could try the support Mewtwo UI. Shoot, some people play supports as carries. So if Pokemon like Latios and Psyduck can be played as a carry on release day, why can't you play an attacker as support? You know what I mean? In the end, attackers are slowly taking over the role that support used to fill. Between having CC, crowd control, objective pressure, and raw damage, they're kind of carrying the utility mantle, whether the devs meant for it to happen or not. Do you think attackers are good at supports, or do you think they're better at just being an attacker and damage carrying, just hard carrying the game? Yeah, there's Pokemon that are meant to be carrying the game, like Cinderace and Greninja and etc. and other attackers like that. But for utility attackers, do you think that they'll make a better utility, or you think they'll make a better attacker? Let me know. Peace out.